Well, hello Shippensburg, and welcome to part 3 of our Spotlight on a Box for the Shippensburg family surnames A through C. Today we're going to concentrate on the C's, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull these out. That way the box doesn't try to chip over on us as we're going through this. So we'll set that down and we'll put these up. Put my gloves there in case we need them. Here we have Kavanaugh, and it just says Mrs. S. period, 1868 on the back. Taken in Lewistown, Pennsylvania. Here we have Ethel Chestnut. And it looks like the year was 1906. Here we have Edward Christwell. For these here, I might have to put my gloves on. No date as to when this was taken, but this was taken by the Frank Beidel photographer here in Shippensburg on the corner of Main and Penn Street, so King Street and Penn Street. Civil War era photos of James Byrd, McPherson. So I'm going to say that probably these are non-Shippensburg related. So you got President Lincoln, Butler, McDowell, and Hutchinson. Which actually on the front says McPherson. Kind of unusual. Here we have Major Noah Ferry. That's Joseph Hooker. Lieutenant Colonel McAllen. And of course, President Lincoln. Here we have Burnside. And I'm not sure who the others are unless I tried to look them up, but they're colonels, judging by the ranks. Definitely know this is the old snapping turtle, Major General George Meade. This here just says Captain Dick. Can't make out the writing on the back of this one, and there's nothing here for that one. So if you're into Civil War CDVs, it looks like we have some for you. Now I'm going to put my gloves on for this one here. You don't want to touch old photographs like this with your bare hands, because the acids, or the acid that's on your fingers, that oil, it may show up on your photography later on in the form of fingerprints. So we have another CDV of Lincoln. Grant. General John Geary. I can't make out the last name, it's so faded. But he's a corporal. Oh wow, this is cool, guys. This is really cool. If anybody out there who knows my work in the Civil War field with Monterey Pass battlefield or the South Mountain battlefield, and you're familiar with some of my works or some of my writings that I did a book called The New York State National Guard during the Pennsylvania Campaign of 1863. Many of these troops were basically wearing gray uniforms, while some of the others had more of a Union Army look. This CDV here is one of those New York State National Guard soldiers. I was not expecting to see that in here. And even some of the ones like the 71st and the 8th New York that came through Shippensburg in June of 1863, those guys were wearing their gray uniforms. And then here we have the president and of course his cabinet. So this was a really cool find right here. And CDVs, in some sense of the way, many of photos were of family members, but then when you get into like the presidents and some of the famous generals, as well as some of the favorite Confederates, some of them were, I'm going to use this term loosely, but some of them could have been traded similar to like baseball cards, but they would have been purchased. Here we have Kate Claudy. Definitely a Civil War period. Here we have the Chressler family. So this is Samuel Augustus and Cora Bertha Chressler. This is about 1925. Here we have some more. Also, if I knew we had the originals of these. This is 1930s, about 1940s, 1932. This is John Samuel Chressler, as well as Pearl, Edna, Edgin. This is Pearl Irene. Chressler family, and this is really small here. But basically it's left to right, you have Dallas and then John. Here we have Coffee, and this is 314 East King Street before 1918. So this house was owned by C.B. Coffee. Here we have C.B. Coffee right here, about 1900. I love when the information's on the back of the card or the photographs. My grandmother didn't do such a good job of keeping records, so when my dad handed me the family photographs, I have a stack of folks that I'm not sure how they're related to me or what their names are. And one of them is a 10 type that goes back to at least the 1870s, if not the late 1860s. Here's Elizabeth, late 1960s. And I think we could take the glove off because these look like they're all wrapped in plastic. Another one of Elizabeth. K period Elizabeth, 1935. This is really interesting. This is cool. I love the hat on this lady here, but her name is Betty Coffey, late 1920s. That's really interesting. Here we have Mary Kozer, born in April of 1863, died October 1933. And then we have Mary and Nell. And of course, second from the left is Elizabeth Coffey Cummings. 1960s, 1970s, it says on the back. So let's go ahead and fast forward and head to another one, because I like to try to keep these videos here under 20 minutes as much as possible. So here we have some photographs from the late 1920s. So we have Frank and Helen, Frank and Helen Coover. Here we have Frank Coover and Samuel Etter, again, mid-1920s. Frank Coover, Frank and Mrs. George. So Frank would be the little boy there. And Frank here, 1927. So, I don't know if you guys can see, because these are a little bit smaller than baseball cards. So that was the Coover family folder there for Frank, Mrs. George, Helen, Shriver, and Samuel. Here is a folder for George H. Coughlin, and he is just a young lad, taken sometime in 1885. 2 years old and 8 months. Now, some people, this is a good time for us to talk about this. So when a lot of people look at photographs like this, they always ask, why is that child wearing a dress if it's a boy? And sometimes when kids, before they're potty trained, they pretty much wore dress-like clothing. And the only way you could actually tell if it was a boy or a girl in the photograph sometimes was looking at the part in the hair, and you can see the part here. So if it was parted to the side, most likely that was a boy. If it was parted in the middle, that would indicate it would be a little girl. As they would get potty trained, obviously the clothing itself would change with them. Here we have the Coy family. So we have Earl Vincent Coy, looks like 1950 or 1930. Almost jumped the gun on that one. So here we have the Coy reunion, 1940. We have Jack Coy. Doesn't say who this is, but here we have Nellie Coy Friedinger. I'm probably butchering some of these last names. Some more of the Coy family. We got Helen Coy, or actually it says from Helen Coy. So I don't know if that would be her or not. I'm going to say it probably is, because this also says from Helen Coy. Just another photograph. Coy reunion. Craig family. This looks like Augustus Craig? I don't know. And of course, this is Bella Craig, it's written on the front. Love looking at photographs. Here's a family that I recognize already, the Chressler family. So we got Captain John Chressler. It says Middle Colts Independent Cavalry. And then we have, it says Hagerstown, Washington County, Maryland. I can't make out the name on this, but the last name is definitely Chressler. Let's see if it's in the front. Catherine Clever Chressler. And then the other one is M-A-U-D Chressler. Maud. Kreider family. So I know, heard of this name before with the Kreiders. So we have Mike, Jacob, Michael. Okay, looks like we have, it's a book of photographs. And then Behind Bars for Good. Okay, we have Criswell, Kate Craig Criswell. One was taken here in Shippensburg, the other one was in Pittsburgh. Okay, this looks like it's Paul Kump. So here's Paul, and Paul along with Arthur B. Fogelsanger. Culbertson. And these are just copies of original photographs. Looks like from World War II. John Herbert Culbertson. Culbertson. And this was taken sometime after World War II in 1945. Okay, we have Betty Coffee Cummings. That's another thing too I like about photographs. They come in all different shapes and sizes. Look at how small that is compared to my index finger. And Curradin appears to be a Civil War soldier. Well, Shippensburg, I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I do. Until then, I want everybody to take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you later. Have a good day.